My name is Sienna Enright, and I'm 31 years old. Right now, my dad is standing in the kitchen doorway of the restaurant I spent 14 months building, telling me to stay hidden while my sister walks out to charm the investor who flew here for me. Stay in the kitchen. Your sister is entertaining the VIP investors tonight. That's what he said. Like I'm the help. Like my name isn't on the pitch deck he used to bring that man here. 10 minutes from now, I'll take off this apron, walk out the back door, and drive away. And then the lead investor, the one my family doesn't realize already knows exactly who I am, will stand up in the dining room and tear a $5 million check to pieces, right in front of them. Before I take you through what happened, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love knowing where you're listening from. Now let me take you back 14 months, to the day my dad called and made me the promise that would ruin everything. 14 months ago, I'm standing at the pass in a Michelin-starred kitchen in Chicago, plating a $40 duck breast, when my phone buzzes. Dad. Gerald Enright doesn't call. Gerald Enright sends one-line texts, "Call your mother," or "When are you visiting?" and expects compliance. So when I see his name on my screen at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, I step into the walk-in cooler and answer. His voice is different, softer. The kind of soft he used when I was 8, and he wanted me to stop crying after he told me cooking was service work, not a career. Sienna, I've been thinking about what you've built up there. Your talent. It's the real deal. I'm proud of you. I don't say anything for 4 seconds. The compressor hums above me. I'm opening a restaurant, he continues. Fine dining, farm to table, back home. And I want you to run the kitchen. Head chef, co-owner, 40%. Your name on everything. I lean against a shelf of labeled containers. The cold bites through my chef coat. You said cooking was a waste of my education. I was wrong. 3 words I'd never heard him string together in 31 years. He talks for 20 minutes. He describes the space, an old textile mill on River Street, high ceilings, exposed brick. He describes the concept, seasonal, local, the kind of place people drive an hour to eat at. He describes the family angle, him handling the business side, me handling the creative, a real Enright legacy. I'd spent 8 years proving I didn't need his approval. One phone call, and I was 18 again, waiting for him to say he was proud. I said yes before I hung up. I gave notice at the restaurant the next morning. I moved back to Millhaven in March. Population 12,000, one traffic light on Main Street. The kind of town where the diner closes at 7 and the gas station attendant knows your mother's maiden name. The mill space is gorgeous. Dad got that right. 14-foot ceilings, original pine beams, enough room for a 60-seat dining room and an open kitchen that lets guests watch the line work. I fall in love with it the first afternoon. Then the real work starts. I spend 3 months designing the menu. I test 211 recipes. I source every protein from farms within a 90-mile radius. I build relationships with a goat cheese producer in Harwick and a mushroom forager in Pine Hollow who texts me at 5 a.m. when chanterelles come in. I hire and train the kitchen crew personally. Tommy Gallagher, 28, rough around the edges, brilliant palate, comes on as sous chef. He'd been a prep cook at a hotel banquet kitchen when I found him. Nobody else gave him a shot. I did. He repaid me by working harder than anyone I've ever managed. Dad handles the lease, the permits, the accountant, the lawyer. I don't question it. He handles business. I handle food. That's the deal. 4 months before opening, my sister Blythe shows up. She's 27, just finished a marketing degree she took 5 years to complete, and she walks in carrying a camera and announces she's the brand manager. I watch her photograph a plate I spent 6 hours developing and post it to an Instagram account she created that morning. She captions it, "Building something beautiful. Stay tuned." Nobody asks me if I want a brand manager. Nobody asks if I want Blythe involved at all. She's just there. And Dad smiles wider at her in one afternoon than he has at me in 4 months. Every sauce, every plate, every hire, that was me. I just assumed the paperwork would catch up. The thing about Blythe is that she's never been quiet about wanting credit. In high school, she submitted a science fair project our cousin built and accepted the ribbon without blinking. In college, she listed restaurant consultant on her LinkedIn 2 weeks after showing up here. But what bothers me isn't the Instagram posts. It's the meetings. She starts attending vendor meetings. She introduces herself to our linen supplier as co-founder. She shakes hands with the wine distributor and says, "I'm the one making the creative decisions." I pull Dad aside after the second time it happens. "She's telling people she's co-founder." He waves his hand. "Blythe's good with people. You're good with food. Each person plays to their strengths." "Dad, she's taking credit for the menu. She doesn't know the difference between a beurre blanc and a béarnaise." "Don't be jealous of your sister, Sienna. It's unbecoming." I stand there, in the kitchen I designed, holding a prep list I wrote at 4 a.m., and my father tells me I'm jealous. That night, Blythe corners me near the walk-in. She's got that smile, the one she uses when she wants you to think she's being kind. "Listen, sis. You're the talent. I'm the face. That's how businesses work. The sooner you accept that, the smoother this goes," I tell Mom. Judith Enright, 58, married to Gerald for 35 years, never once questioned a financial decision he made. She listens, she nods. Then she says, "You should be glad the whole family is involved. Not everyone has that." I hang up and sit on the floor of my apartment for a while. I never was invited to a single meeting with the lawyer or the accountant, not once in 14 months, and I didn't push for it. That's on me. Tommy is the kind of person who notices things and says them out loud whether you want him to or not. We're breaking down the station after a test dinner, the 5th one this month, and he's scrubbing the flat top with that focused silence that means he's about to say something I won't enjoy. "Chef, can I ask you something?" "Go ahead." "I've been doing inventory logs for the office, filing stuff, and I've seen a lot of documents in that filing cabinet, the lease, the vendor contracts, insurance paperwork." I scrape a sheet tray and wait. "Your name's not on any of them." I stop scraping. "What?" "Every document I've seen lists Gerald Enright and Blythe Enright. Your name doesn't show up anywhere." The flat top sizzles where a drop of water hits it. I stare at the wall behind the range hood. Dad probably hasn't finished the paperwork yet. He's doing everything through the LLC. There's a process. Tommy nods, but he doesn't look convinced. "Sure, probably just timing." He finishes the flat top. I finish the trays. We work in silence for 10 minutes. Then, as he's hanging up his apron, he says it quietly, almost like he's talking to himself. "You might want to ask who signed the insurance policy, because I saw the application on the desk, and it only lists 2 names." He leaves. I stand alone in the kitchen. The exhaust fan hums overhead. Somewhere in the dining room, Blythe is laughing at something on her phone. I tell myself it's a paperwork delay. I tell myself Dad said he'd handle the business side and he's handling it. I tell myself a lot of things that night. I don't sleep well. 3 weeks before opening, Reality walks in wearing a polo shirt and holding a clipboard. His name is Dale something, an insurance agent from the next county over. He needs signatures on the business liability policy. State law requires it before we can serve a single plate to the public. I just need all listed owners to sign here and here. He spreads the forms on the host stand and clicks his pen. I pick up the front page. Under business owners/members of LLC, 2 names are printed in clean block letters: Gerald Enright, 60%, Blythe Enright, 40%. That's it. That's the whole list. I read it again. I read it a 3rd time. My name isn't misspelled. It isn't on the next page. It isn't anywhere. "Excuse me," I say to Dale. "Where's the operating agreement, the LLC filing?" He pulls a stapled packet from his folder. "Right here, filed 6 months ago." 6 months. I flip to the member list. Gerald, Blythe, 2 signatures at the bottom. Neither one is mine. I look at the date. Gerald filed this LLC when I was still sourcing mushroom foragers in Pine Hollow. When I was testing recipe number 147. When I was training Tommy to run the pass the way I'd learned in Chicago. 6 months ago, while I was building his restaurant from the inside out, my father was building me out of it. The kitchen timer behind me goes off. I've been standing here for 11 minutes. I know because I started it when I picked up the form. Force of habit. I time everything. Dale asks if I'm okay. I hand the papers back and tell him I need to speak with Mr. Enright before anyone signs anything. My hands are steady. My chest is not. I find him in the office, the converted storage room behind the bar where he keeps the filing cabinet, a folding desk, and a framed photo of himself shaking hands with some county commissioner. I set the LLC agreement on his desk. He looks at it like I've placed a dead animal in front of him. Where did you get that? The insurance agent brought it. He needed owner signatures. My name isn't on here, Dad. He leans back, crosses his arms. You went through the business files? The insurance agent handed them to me. Answer my question. Why is Blythe listed at 40% and I'm not listed at all? He exhales hard through his nose. It's complicated. The lawyer said adding a third member would slow down the filing. I was going to add you after opening night. You filed this 6 months ago. These things take time, Sienna. You had 6 months of time. His jaw tightens. I've seen that look my whole life. The moment Gerald Enright decides you've overstepped. Blythe handles the business side. You handle the kitchen. You don't need your name on paper to be valuable. You need to cook. I hold the LLC agreement up between us. You used my name to bring Marcus Aldridge here. My resume, my competition record, my reputation. And you're telling me I don't need paper? Lower your voice. Answer my question. He stands up. I'll add you after opening. You have my word. Your word put Blythe at 40% 6 months ago and left me at 0. He walks past me toward the door. Stops. Doesn't turn around. And you will not mention any of this to the investor. You'll ruin everything. He leaves. The door doesn't close all the way. I hear Blythe laughing in the dining room. That night, I sit in my apartment with a legal pad and do something I should have done 14 months ago. I make a list. If I stay and say nothing, I work as an unlisted employee in a restaurant I designed. My name on nothing. My equity at 0. My reputation tied to a business my father and sister control. If they sell, I get nothing. If they fail, I'm associated with the failure. If they succeed, Blythe takes the interview and I take the dish pit. If I leave, I lose 14 months of unpaid work. I lose the menu I built from scratch. I lose the team I trained. I start over at 31 with depleted savings and a gap on my resume that reads, Family Project. Neither column looks good. Tommy calls at 10 p.m. He sounds like he's standing outside. Chef, I found something in the office printer today. Thought you should see it. He drops off a manila envelope at my door and leaves without coming in. Inside is a 32-page pitch deck. The cover slide reads, Enright's Table, a farm-to-table fine dining experience. Below the title, a photo of me at the stove, my bio, my competition finalist placement, my training history. Page 4. Sienna Enright, co-owner and executive chef. I compare it to the LLC filing. The pitch deck says I own 40%. The legal document says I own 0. Gerald used my face, my name, and my credentials to attract a $5 million investment. And then he cut me out of the ownership like I was a stock photo he licensed for the brochure. I close the envelope. I don't cry. I don't break anything. I just sit there, holding a document that proves my father sold someone a version of this restaurant that doesn't exist. And that's where I was, standing in my apartment at 11 p.m., holding a pitch deck with my face on it and a contract without my name. If you've ever given everything to something and then realized the people closest to you were the ones taking from you, you know this feeling. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happened next, because what my dad did on opening night, that was the real betrayal. I catch Blythe the next morning. She's in the dining room rearranging centerpieces she ordered without asking me, humming to herself, phone propped against a water glass recording a time-lapse for Instagram. We need to talk. She doesn't look up. About what? I set the LLC filing on the table between 2 vases of dried lavender. About this. She glances at it, doesn't pick it up, doesn't flinch. Oh, that. You knew? Of course I knew. I helped Dad set it up. The centerpiece she's adjusting is 3 inches off center. She nudges it with her fingernail. Blythe, my name was supposed to be on that document. She finally looks at me. The smile is patient, the way you'd smile at someone who doesn't understand a joke. Sienna, I pitched the idea to Dad. You're a chef. You belong in the kitchen. I belong in the boardroom. That's just how it is. You pitched it. You went to Dad and told him to cut me out. I told him to structure it in a way that makes sense. Investors don't fund recipes. They fund brands. And I am the brand. I stare at her. She stares back. Behind us, the espresso machine hisses through a cleaning cycle. Every photo on that Instagram account is food I made. And I styled it, shot it, and posted it. Content creation is a skill, Sienna. You can't name 3 ingredients in the signature dish. She picks up her phone and taps the screen. The time lapse stops recording. I don't need to name ingredients. I need to name investors. And I'm the one meeting Marcus Aldridge on opening night, not you. She walks past me carrying a vase. Her perfume lingers, lavender and something chemical. I stand there holding a legal document my own sister helped draft to erase me. I drive to my parents' house that evening. Mom is in the kitchen, the home kitchen, not the restaurant one, peeling potatoes over the sink. She peels toward herself, the way her mother taught her, the way I never do because it's unsafe. Mom, I need to tell you something. She keeps peeling. Okay, honey. Dad removed my name from the LLC. I'm not an owner. I have no equity. Blythe has 40% and she helped set it up. The peeler stops. She holds a half-naked potato over the sink. Water runs over her knuckles. I know. 2 words. She knew. How long? Your father discussed it with me when he filed. 6 months ago. He said it was a business decision. He said you'd understand eventually. I sit down at the kitchen table, the same table where I ate cereal before school for 18 years, where I told them I was going to culinary school, where Gerald said I was wasting my potential. Mom, they're using my name on the investor pitch. They're telling Marcus Aldridge I'm co-owner. That's fraud. She sets the potato down and dries her hands. Don't use that word. Your father wouldn't do anything illegal. He literally did. Sienna, don't make this bigger than it is. It's just paperwork. You're still family. Paperwork is the only thing that proves I exist in this business, Mom. She folds the towel into a neat square. If you make a scene, your father will cut you out of everything, not just the restaurant, the family. There it is, the real message. Stay quiet, absorb it, keep the peace. The same message she's been delivering to me since I was old enough to have an opinion that differed from Gerald's. I leave without eating the potatoes. I go back to work the next day. I don't quit because the team I hired doesn't deserve to be abandoned 2 weeks before opening. Tommy, our line cooks, the prep team, they left other jobs because I told them this kitchen would be something special. Walking out on them would make me the same kind of person Gerald is. So I cook. I finalized the opening night tasting menu, 7 courses, each one tied to a local producer I spent months building a relationship with. I run service drills. I calibrate plate timing down to the second. And I watch. I watch Gerald coach Blythe on how to describe the menu to investors. She reads from note cards in the office, stumbling over chiffonade and pronouncing mise en place like it rhymes with rice. Gerald corrects her patiently, the way he never corrected me, because he never needed to. I watch Blythe practice her welcome speech in front of the bathroom mirror. She tilts her head at exactly the same angle in every run-through, testing which side photographs better. I watch Dad order a new name badge display for the front of house. He spends 40 minutes arranging them. Blythe's badge is centered at the top. Mine isn't on the board. Tommy sees me looking at it. He doesn't say anything. He just starts sharpening knives at the station next to me, staying close, working in silence. Something shifts in me during those 2 weeks. I don't get angrier. I get clearer. The fog of Dad will fix it, and this is still a family project burns off. And underneath it, there's just the fact. They built a restaurant on my back and put someone else's name on the front. I don't tell anyone what I'm thinking. I'm not sure I know yet. 3 days before opening, Gerald hosts a rehearsal dinner. 30 people, local business owners, a couple of town council members, some friends of the family, and the small staff we've assembled. It's supposed to be a dry run for the grand opening. I cook a 5-course preview menu that takes me 14 hours to prep. Gerald stands at the head of the long table with a glass of wine. The room quiets. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. This restaurant has been a dream of mine for years, and I'm thrilled to finally bring it to life. He pauses, smiles. I couldn't have done it without my daughter Blythe, co-owner and the creative vision behind everything you'll taste tonight. The room applauds. Blythe stands and gives a small wave, practiced, modest, exactly right. Gerald doesn't say my name. 30 people eat 7 hours of my prep work and listen to my father credit my sister for the creative vision. The goat cheese comes from a woman I visit every Thursday at 6 a.m. The mushrooms come from a man who drives 40 minutes to meet me at the back door. The duck comes from a farm where the owner knows my handshake. None of them hear my name tonight. Blythe stands up for her toast. Thank you all for supporting my vision. This restaurant is about bringing people together, and I'm honored to lead that mission. She says my 3 times. The applause is warm. I'm standing behind the prep counter, still in my whites, still holding the spoon I used to finish the last sauce. 2 line cooks glance at me sideways. Tommy stares at his shoes. After service, Tommy lingers. You okay, chef? I untie my apron, fold it, set it on the counter. I'm exactly where he wants me. Let me tell you about Marcus Aldridge. 2 years before any of this, I'm competing in the National Rising Chef Invitational in Philadelphia. 32 chefs, 3 rounds. I make it to the final 4 before I lose to a pastry specialist on a dessert course, my weakest category. After the competition, a man in a dark blue suit finds me at the hotel bar. Gray hair, trimmed short, expensive watch, but not flashy. He orders a bourbon and sits 1 stool away. Your duck confit in round 2 was the best plate I've seen in 15 years of judging food competitions. Thank you. I still lost. You lost on dessert. Nobody invests in a restaurant because of the creme brulee. He slides a business card across the bar. Marcus Aldridge. I run a hospitality investment fund. When you're ready to open your own place, call me. I keep the card in my wallet for 2 years. I never call. When Dad pitches the restaurant to investors, he doesn't know that Marcus and I have already met. He doesn't know that Marcus said yes to the meeting because he recognized my name on the pitch deck. He recognized my name on the pitch deck. He remembered my duck confit from Philadelphia. That plate, and only that plate, is why he boarded a plane. Gerald thinks he landed a whale. The truth is simpler and more devastating. Marcus Aldridge flew 1,200 miles to a small town in the middle of nowhere because of the chef Gerald is about to hide in the kitchen. I don't know any of this yet, standing in the rehearsal dinner cleanup. I won't learn it until later. But it matters now, because it explains everything that happens on opening night. Marcus isn't coming for the restaurant. He's coming for me. The pitch deck sits on my kitchen table for 2 days before I open it again. When I do, I go through it page by page. It's polished. Someone paid a designer to lay it out. Clean fonts, professional photography. Every image is food I cooked, plated on dishes I selected, in the kitchen I organized. Page 1. Enright's Table, redefining farm to table in the American heartland. Page 3. My bio. Culinary school honors. 3 years as a line cook in New York. 5 years as a sous chef in Chicago. National Rising Chef Invitational finalist. Every credential I've earned since I was 18, presented as the foundation of this business. Page 4. Sienna Enright, co-owner, 40%, and executive chef. My photo. My signature dish. A quote attributed to me that I never said. I came home to build something lasting for my family and my community. Page 12. Financial projections built on the assumption that I, specifically my reputation, will attract press coverage and regional food tourism. Gerald used every piece of me, my face, my name, my work, my future. He packaged it into a glossy 32-page document, sent it to a man who writes $5 million checks, and told that man I was his partner. Then he removed my name from the only document that actually matters. I don't need to jibe anyone. I don't need to record a conversation or hire a lawyer or stage a confrontation. The pitch deck and the LLC filing tell 2 different stories. One of them is a lie. And the person who will care most about that lie is the man who's about to write a check based on it. I close the pitch deck. I put it back in the envelope. I don't make any decisions yet. But I know the facts now. And the facts are enough. The night before opening, I'm alone in the kitchen at midnight. Every station is prepped. Proteins portioned and labeled. Sauces reduced and cooling. Produce sorted by course in color-coded bins. The walk-in is a monument to organization. 14 months of planning reduced to neat rows of containers, each one tagged with my handwriting. I run my hand along the stainless steel counter. I installed this counter. I chose this layout. The pass here, the sauté station there, the cold station by the window, so the garde-manger team gets natural light in the morning. Every decision in this room is mine. I walk out into the dark dining room. The tables are set for tomorrow. White linen, polished stemware, small ceramic vases with wildflowers Blythe picked up from a florist this afternoon. Menu cards printed on heavy cream stock. Enright's table, in embossed lettering. No chef's name on the menu. Just the restaurant name and the dish descriptions I wrote. By the front door, the name badge display catches the exit sign's red glow. Blythe's name on top. Dad's beneath it. Mine is filed under kitchen staff, third from the bottom, between Tommy Gallagher and a line cook named Ray. I go back to the kitchen. My apron hangs on the hook by the back door. The one I brought from Chicago, my name embroidered on the chest in small navy letters. I take it off the hook. Hold it. I haven't decided what I'll do tomorrow. If Dad introduces me to Marcus, if he gives me a seat at the table, even a small one, I'll stay. I'll fight for the paperwork later. I'll believe him one more time. But if he doesn't, I fold the apron and put it in my bag, just in case. I lock the back door and drive home. Opening night, 6:30 p.m., October. The parking lot fills fast. Black SUVs, a town car with tinted windows, a few pickups from the local crowd who got invitations because Gerald wanted bodies in seats. 80 guests total. The dining room is at capacity. I arrive through the back door carrying my knife roll. The kitchen is already humming. Tommy has the line cooks running through their stations. He gives me a nod when I walk in. I nod back. We've done this dance 100 times. Through the pass-through window, I can see the dining room. White linen glowing under pendant lights, a jazz trio playing something soft in the corner, wine being poured by servers in black vests. Gerald is at the front entrance, shaking hands, slapping backs, doing the thing he does best, performing. Blythe is in a red dress, not restaurant appropriate, but camera appropriate. She floats between tables with a champagne flute, touching shoulders, leaning in, laughing. She looks like she owns the place, because on paper, she does. I spot Marcus Aldridge at the center table, navy suit, no tie. He's studying the menu card with the quiet focus of someone who actually understands what the words mean. Beside his bread plate, there's a cream-colored envelope, thick, the kind that holds a check. A hostess walks past the kitchen and I catch her arm gently. Is there a name tag for me on the board out front? She blinks. I think you're listed under kitchen staff, chef. Kitchen staff. The person who built every dish Marcus Aldridge is about to eat, who designed the menu he's reading, whose name and face are on the pitch deck that brought him here, filed between the sous chef and a 22-year-old line cook. I tie on my apron, I start plating amuse-bouches, and I wait. Gerald comes through the kitchen doors at 7:15. He's got that walk, chest forward, chin up, the walk of a man who just shook hands with a multimillionaire and can already feel the money in his account. He pulls me aside near the dishwashing station, away from the line. Everything looks great in here. Beautiful work. Now listen, stay in the kitchen tonight. Your sister is handling Marcus. Don't come out to the dining room. Marcus came because of me, Dad. He came because of the business plan. His fund invests in chef-driven concepts. He knows my work. He judged my competition. Gerald's face tightens. Blythe will handle him. She's prepared. She knows the menu. She mispronounced mise en place yesterday. Sienna. His voice drops to that register, the one that sounds calm but means, do not test me. You cook. She talks. That's the arrangement. We're not changing it 20 minutes before the first course. He straightens his tie, looks at me the way he always has, like I'm a resource to be managed, not a person to be consulted. Stay in the kitchen. Do your job. He pushes through the swinging door. It rocks back and forth 3 times before it settles. Through the window, I see him cross the dining room and slide into the chair next to Marcus. Blythe leans in from the other side, menu card in hand, ready to explain dishes she's never tasted in their development stage. The kitchen goes quiet. Not literally. The hoods are roaring, pans are hissing, but the crew goes silent. They heard everything. Tommy is looking at me from the sauté station. 2 line cooks stare at their cutting boards. I look down at my apron. I look at the back door. And something in me goes very still. I look at the apron for a long time, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30. The embroidered letters, S. Enright, are starting to fray at the edges. I've worn this apron through 3 kitchens in 2 cities over 8 years. It's survived grease fires, 12-hour shifts, and one very unfortunate incident with a blender lid. I untie the strings behind my back. The kitchen goes completely still. Even the sauté pan stops hissing. 4 sets of eyes are on me. I fold the apron lengthwise, then in thirds, the way you fold a flag. I set it on the prep counter, right next to the stack of plate tickets for the first course. Tommy steps forward. His mouth opens, then closes. "Kitchen's yours tonight, chef." His eyes go wide. "You sure?" I've never been more sure about anything. I pick up my knife roll from the shelf. I take my bag from the hook by the back door. The door is heavy, fire-rated, steel core, and it opens with a push bar that clunks when you hit it. I push it. The October air hits my face. It smells like wood smoke and cold grass. The parking lot is full of cars that belong to people eating my food in a restaurant that doesn't have my name on it. I walk to my car, a 12-year-old Honda Civic with a dent in the rear quarter panel and a parking permit from a Chicago garage still stuck to the windshield. I get in. I start the engine. I don't slam the door. I don't make a speech. I don't leave a note on the pass. I just leave. But before I pull out of the lot, I take out my phone. I open my contacts, and I type one message. The message takes me 4 drafts. I delete the first 3 because they sound angry, then hurt, then defensive. The 4th one sounds like me. "Mr. Aldridge, this is Sienna Enright. I want you to know that I am not a co-owner of this restaurant as stated in the pitch deck you received. My name was removed from all legal documents before filing. I have resigned effective tonight. I wish you well." 43 words, no accusations, no requests, no drama. Just the facts, delivered by the person whose face is on page 3 of a document that lied about her role. I hit send. I turn off my phone. I pull out of the parking lot. I drive to the gas station on Route 9, the one with the fluorescent lights that make everything look vaguely medical. I buy a turkey sandwich in a triangle plastic container and a can of ginger ale. I eat in the parking lot, engine running, heater on. Inside that restaurant, right now, 8 line cooks are trying to execute a 7-course tasting menu without their head chef. Tommy is calling orders from my station, running on muscle memory and panic. The first course is probably going out okay. The amuse-bouches are prepped and plated, just needs garnish. But by course 3, when the timing gets tight and the sauces need adjusting on the fly, the kitchen will start unraveling. And in the dining room, Marcus Aldridge is looking at his phone. I don't know exactly what happens next because I'm not there. I'll piece it together later from Tommy, from a server who quit the next day, and from a food blogger who posted about it before midnight. But here's what I'm told. Here's what happened after I drove away. In the dining room, Blythe is mid-sentence. She's standing beside Marcus Aldridge's table, menu card in hand, describing the second course, a seared duck breast with roasted parsnip puree and a cherry port reduction. She calls it our signature creation and attributes the flavor profile to months of collaborative development with our culinary team. Marcus listens politely, then he asks a question. "The duck, is it Rohan or Moulard?" Blythe blinks. "It's local." "Local from which farm? And the reduction, is the port a tawny or a ruby? Because the acidity profile would change the pairing with this Pinot." Blythe's smile holds, but her eyes dart toward Gerald across the table. Gerald gives her a small nod, the kind that means, just say something confident. I'd have to check with the kitchen on those specifics. I'd love to speak with Chef Enright directly. The duck confit she made at the Invitational 2 years ago is the reason I'm sitting here. Gerald leans in, smooth, practiced. "Sienna's in the kitchen running service right now. She'll be out after dessert. Blythe handles the business side. She's the one you'll be working with." Marcus nods, picks up his wine glass, takes a slow sip. Then his phone buzzes. He reads the screen. His face doesn't change. Not exactly. His jaw shifts forward half an inch. He sets the glass down. He picks up the cream-colored envelope that's been sitting beside his bread plate all evening and slides it into the inside pocket of his jacket. Gerald watches the envelope disappear and his smile falters for the first time tonight. Marcus looks up from his phone. His eyes move from Gerald to Blythe and back again. I'd like to see Chef Enright, right now. Gerald snaps his fingers at a passing server. Go tell Chef Enright to come out, please. The server disappears through the kitchen doors. 20 seconds later, he comes back. His face is the color of uncooked dough. Mr. Enright, Chef Enright isn't in the kitchen. What do you mean she isn't in the kitchen? She left, sir, about 20 minutes ago. The dining room hasn't gone quiet yet. The jazz trio is still playing, glasses are still clinking, but at the center table, the silence is total. Gerald stares at the server like the kid just told him the building is on fire. Blythe sets down her champagne. She probably went to get something from her car. Tommy pushes through the kitchen doors. He's still in his whites, a towel over one shoulder. He walks directly to the center table and addresses Marcus, not Gerald. Chef Enright left the building at approximately 7:20. She resigned. Gerald stands up. His chair scrapes against the floor. Several nearby guests look over. She did not resign. She's having a moment. She'll be back. Marcus reaches into his jacket and pulls out his phone. He holds it up so Gerald can see the screen. I just received a text from Sienna. She says she's not a co-owner of this restaurant. She says her name was removed from all legal documents, and she has resigned. He pauses, lets the words land. Mr. Enright, I flew 1,200 miles to invest in a Michelin-caliber chef. Is that chef in this room? The jazz trio finishes their song. Nobody applauds. The silence spreads from the center table outward like a stain on white linen. Gerald opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. It's a misunderstanding. Marcus stands up slowly. He buttons his jacket with one hand. A small, deliberate gesture that commands the room more than Gerald's voice ever could. A misunderstanding. He repeats it like he's tasting something gone bad. Your pitch deck, page 4, lists Sienna Enright as co-owner with 40% equity. Your LLC filing lists her with 0%. Your pitch deck says she's your partner. Tonight, you told her to stay in the kitchen while your other daughter, who cannot identify the breed of duck on the menu, presents the business to me. Gerald's neck goes red above his collar. Marcus, let's discuss this privately. We are discussing it, right here. Marcus reaches into his jacket pocket. He pulls out the cream-colored envelope. He opens the flap. He slides out a check and holds it up. The dining room goes dead silent. 80 people can see the number. $5 million, written in blue ink on heavy bond paper. Marcus looks at it for 3 seconds. Then he grips it with both hands and tears it down the center. He tears each half again. He places the 4 pieces on the white tablecloth, next to Blythe's untouched champagne glass. I don't fund businesses built on misrepresentation. I came here for Sienna Enright. She's gone. So is my money. He picks up his phone. He tucks in his chair. He walks through the dining room toward the exit, passing 80 guests who are no longer eating. A food blogger at table 9 is already typing on her phone. The town council member at table 3 has his napkin pressed to his mouth. Gerald's golf buddy near the window is staring at the torn check like it's a car accident. Blythe hasn't moved. Her champagne flute is still raised at half-mast. Her mouth is open. No sound comes out. Marcus pushes through the front door. It closes behind him with a soft click. For 10 seconds, nobody in that dining room moves. Then everything happens at once. Gerald grabs the torn pieces of the check and tries to fit them together, like a child with a puzzle, like he can will $5 million back into existence with shaking hands. Blythe's champagne flute tilts. She doesn't notice until the wine drips onto her red dress. She sets it down and her lower lip starts trembling, not from guilt, from the sudden, sickening realization that 80 people just watched her get publicly exposed as a fraud. Tommy steps forward from the kitchen doorway. He's been standing there since Marcus started talking, arms at his sides, towel still over his shoulder. I'm done here, Mr. Enright, and 3 of the line cooks are coming with me. We signed on for Chef Enright. She's gone, and so are we. Gerald looks up from the torn check. You can't just walk out. We have service. You don't have service. You don't have a head chef. You don't have a sous chef. And in about 30 seconds, you won't have a sauté cook or a garde-manger either. Tommy pulls his apron over his head and drops it on the nearest table. We came here for Sienna, not for this. He walks into the kitchen. Two cooks follow him. The kitchen doors swing shut. Gerald is standing alone at the center table. Pieces of a $5 million check scattered in front of him. His wife sitting 3 seats away, staring at her plate. His younger daughter dabbing champagne off a red dress with a napkin. Half his kitchen crew walking out the back door. The food blogger at Table 9 publishes her post before the first guests start reaching for their coats. The headline, Grand Opening Turns Grand Disaster. Nobody orders dessert. That was the moment everything my dad built on lies came crashing down, and I wasn't even in the room. I was sitting in my car in a gas station parking lot, eating a turkey sandwich from a plastic triangle, and feeling, for the first time in 14 months, like I could actually breathe. If you've ever walked away from something that was slowly suffocating you, you know that sandwich tasted better than anything I've ever cooked. Stay with me, because the fallout? It was just beginning. I wake up at 6 a.m. out of habit. For 14 months, 6 a.m. meant driving to the restaurant, checking produce deliveries, tasting the stocks from overnight. This morning, 6 a.m. means lying in a rented apartment staring at a ceiling with a water stain shaped like Rhode Island. My phone has been off since last night. I turn it on. 14 missed calls from Dad, 3 from Mom, 1 from Blythe, 7 texts from Tommy. Tommy's texts tell the story in reverse chronological order. The last one, sent at 1 a.m. Hope you're okay, Chef. Call when you're ready. The first one, sent at 8:40 p.m. Marcus left. Check torn up in front of everyone. Your dad is losing it. Half the kitchen walked. It's over. I read it twice. I set the phone down. By noon, the news has spread through Millhaven like a kitchen fire. The food blogger's post has 400 shares. The local Facebook group is already debating whose fault it is. Someone from the Chamber of Commerce calls Gerald's office and leaves a voicemail asking for clarification on the investor situation. Gerald calls me for the 15th time. I don't answer. The math is straightforward. Gerald signed a 10-year lease on the mill space, $12,000 a month. He took out a $400,000 equipment loan for the kitchen build-out. He hired 22 staff members, all of whom now need to be paid or terminated. And his only source of outside capital just tore itself into 4 pieces and walked out the front door. Without an executive chef, the menu I designed is unexecutable. Without Marcus's investment, the operating runway is measured in weeks. Without his reputation, which is now publicly associated with fraud, no other investor will touch him. The restaurant that took 14 months to build has about 14 days to live. Gerald shows up at my apartment on a Wednesday afternoon. I know it's him because he knocks the way he always has. 3 hard raps, a pause, then 2 more. The knock of a man who expects doors to open. I open it. He looks 10 years older than he did last week. His shirt is wrinkled. His eyes are red around the edges. He's holding a manila folder. Can I come in? Say what you came to say. He stands in the hallway, folder against his chest. His voice cracks on the first word. I need you to come back. I'll fix the LLC. I'll put you at 50%. I'll take Blythe down to 10. Whatever you want. Just come back. 3 weeks ago, I asked for the 40% you promised me. You said I didn't need my name on paper. I was wrong. You were wrong 14 months ago when you called me in Chicago with a number you never planned to honor. He looks at the folder in his hands. I brought the amendment paperwork. It's ready to sign, right now. Dad, I lean against the doorframe. You're not offering me 50% because you respect me. You're offering it because your restaurant can't survive without me and you know it. His chin drops. The folder lowers. You didn't lose an employee. You lost the only reason anyone was investing. I was trying to protect the family. You were trying to protect your control over the restaurant, over Blythe, over me. And when I stopped letting you control me, the whole thing collapsed. He stands there for a long time. The hallway light hums. A neighbor's TV plays through the wall. Please, Sienna. I close the door. Gently. The way you close something you don't plan to open again. Tommy calls that evening. Chef, you got a minute? I've got nothing but minutes right now, Tommy. He laughs. Short, tired. 4 of us walked out that night. Me, Ray, Danielle from Garde Manger, and Marco from Pastry. The other 3 are still technically employed, but Gerald hasn't paid anyone since opening night. I think he's hoping people just stop showing up so he doesn't have to fire them. That sounds like him. Listen, I'm calling because The four of us talked. We left because of you. You hired us. You trained us. You're the reason any of us are better at this job than we were a year ago. I sit on my couch and look at the ceiling. Rhode Island stares back. I appreciate that, Tommy. More than you know. So here's my question. Do you have a plan? Because if you open something, anything, I'm in. Danielle and Marco said the same thing. I think about it. A week ago, I had a kitchen, a team, a menu, and no ownership. Today, I have no kitchen, no menu, no income, and a team of 4 people willing to follow me into whatever comes next. I don't have a plan yet, but I know one thing. What's that? Next time, my name goes on every document. The LLC, the lease, the insurance, the menu, the sign on the front door. When you're ready, call me. Tommy? Yeah, chef? Thank you. For telling me about the insurance form, for the pitch deck, for walking out. You gave me my first real shot in a kitchen. I wasn't about to watch someone else take credit for yours. He hangs up. I sit in the quiet for a while. Then I pull a legal pad from the kitchen drawer and start writing. Gerald's restaurant opens 3 days after the grand opening disaster. He hires a replacement chef, a line cook from a chain steakhouse 2 towns over, the only person willing to take the job on short notice. The reviews start appearing within a week. Ordered the duck breast. It arrived overcooked and swimming in a sauce that tasted like cough syrup. This is not the restaurant they promised. 2 stars. Menu says farm to table. The parsnip puree tasted like it came from a can. Where's the chef from the pitch? 1 star. When expecting Michelin quality based on the investor presentation that's been circulating online. Got Applebee's with better lighting. 1 star. The food blogger who covered the grand opening writes a follow-up piece. She compares the pitch deck, which someone leaked to her, to the current reality. She publishes side-by-side photos. Sienna's test kitchen plates versus what's being served now. The article goes semi-viral in regional foodie circles. The headline, "The Chef They Erased." By week 3, Gerald can't fill more than 12 seats on a Saturday night. The servers start quitting because the tips don't cover gas money. The mushroom forager from Pine Hollow stops making deliveries because 2 invoices went unpaid. Gerald misses the 3rd month's rent. The landlord sends a formal notice. The equipment loan company calls about a missed payment on the $400,000 kitchen build-out. Blythe deletes the restaurant's Instagram account after the comment section becomes a wall of variations on the same theme. You're not even a real chef. She stops coming to the restaurant entirely. She stops answering Gerald's calls. 6 weeks after opening night, Gerald locks the front door of Enright's table for the last time. The grand opening banner is still hanging above the entrance. Nobody takes it down. Blythe texts me on a Tuesday night, 8 weeks after I walked out. The first message arrives at 11:14 p.m. Late enough to suggest she's been staring at her phone for hours, early enough to pretend it's casual. This is your fault. You could have just stayed and we'd all be fine. I read it while sitting at my kitchen table, eating leftover pasta from a pot I cooked on a 2-burner stove in an apartment that costs $600 a month. I set the phone down and take another bite. The second message comes 4 minutes later. Mom is crying every day. Dad can't sleep. He's selling the house. Are you happy now? I chew. I think about it. I think about the LLC filing dated 6 months before I found it. I think about Blythe standing in the dining room saying my vision. I think about Gerald telling me to stay in the kitchen. I think about the name badge board with my name filed under kitchen staff. I pick up the phone and type one message. I read it 3 times before sending. I didn't tear up that check. I didn't write that pitch deck. I didn't remove my name from the LLC. You and Dad did all of that. I just told the truth. I hit send. I finish my pasta. I wash the pot. Blythe doesn't respond. Not that night. Not the next day. Not ever. The conversation sits in my phone like a closed book. Her accusations on one side, 3 sentences of fact on the other. I don't delete it. Someday, if she ever asks me why I left, I want to be able to scroll up and show her. I already answered that question. Once. Clearly. And then I went back to eating dinner. I didn't destroy anything. I just stopped holding it together. Mom calls 2 months later. It's a Sunday morning. I almost don't answer because Sunday mornings used to mean Gerald wanted something relayed through Judith to avoid asking directly. But something in me picks up anyway. Hi, Mom. Hi, sweetheart. Her voice sounds different, thinner, like she's been holding her breath for weeks and finally let it out. How are you? I'm managing. Your father and I moved into an apartment on Elm Street. It's small, 2 bedrooms. He's not doing well. I'm sorry to hear that. A long pause. I can hear her breathing. Then, Sienna, I didn't call to ask you to come back. I called to say something I should have said a long time ago. I wait. I knew the whole time. About the LLC, about Blythe, about the pitch deck. And I told you it was just paperwork. I told you not to make a scene. She pauses. I was wrong. I was so afraid of your father's reaction that I chose his comfort over your future. And I'm sorry. My eyes sting. I press the phone hard against my ear. Thank you for saying that, Mom. Can you forgive me? I don't know yet. I love you. I do. But I needed you to stand next to me when it mattered, not call me 2 months later to apologize from a safe distance. She cries quietly. I let her. If you want me in your life, Mom, I need one thing. Stop telling me to keep the peace. Peace built on me swallowing what's wrong isn't peace. It's just silence. Okay. I mean it. I know you do. We talk for 10 more minutes about nothing important. The weather, a recipe she saw on television, her new neighbor's cat. Normal things. It's a start, a small one, but it's real. Here's what happens to Gerald Enright in the 4 months after his restaurant closes. The landlord sues for breach of the 10-year lease. Gerald's lawyer negotiates a settlement. He pays 18 months of rent as a penalty, which wipes out most of his remaining savings. The equipment loan company repossesses the kitchen build-out. The range I selected, the walk-in cooler I organized, the prep counters I chose. They send a truck on a Tuesday afternoon and strip the kitchen down to bare walls. Gerald lists the family house, the one on Birch Lane where I grew up, where Mom peeled potatoes toward herself, where I told them about culinary school, and Gerald said I was throwing my life away. It sells in 3 weeks for less than the asking price because word travels fast in a town of 12,000 and nobody wants to buy a house from the man whose investor tore up a check on opening night. They move into a 2-bedroom apartment on Elm Street. Judith gets a part-time job at the library, her first job in 35 years of marriage. Gerald sits in the apartment and watches cable news and doesn't talk much. Blythe moves back to the city. She updates her LinkedIn, removes co-founder, and replaces it with freelance marketing consultant. In the local business community, her name is permanently attached to the phrase, the one who pretended to be the chef. She doesn't visit Gerald. The Chamber of Commerce removes Gerald from their directory. His golf buddies stop inviting him to Saturday morning tea times. The county commissioner, whose photo hangs in the office, never returns his calls. I hear all of this secondhand. From Tommy, from Mom, from the Millhaven grapevine that hums louder than any kitchen exhaust fan. I don't celebrate any of it. I don't gloat. I just feel tired, and a little sad, and ready to build something new. 3 months after opening night, my phone rings with a number I don't recognize, area code from out of state. Sienna, it's Marcus Aldridge. I'm standing in my apartment kitchen, chopping onions on a cutting board that barely fits on the counter. I set the knife down. Mr. Aldridge, I didn't expect to hear from you. I've been following up on a few things. Spoke with some contacts in the Chicago restaurant scene. Your former executive chef at the Michelin spot told me you were the best sous chef he'd ever worked with. Said losing you was the worst staffing decision he didn't get to make. That's generous of him. It's accurate. He pauses. I hear him shift in a chair. I'm going to be direct. I still want to invest in a restaurant, but I'm not investing in a family business or a brand or an LLC I didn't vet. I'm investing in a chef. I wipe onion tears with the back of my wrist. I'm listening. I'll fund the build-out and first year of operations. You own 60%, full creative and operational control. My involvement is capital and advisory. I don't touch the menu, the hires, or the day-to-day. Everything on paper. Everything reviewed by your lawyer before you sign a single page. My lawyer. Your lawyer, not your father's, not a family friend, yours. I lean against the counter. The onions are starting to oxidize. I don't care. I need a week to think about it. Take two. This isn't the kind of decision you rush. Mr. Aldridge? Marcus. Marcus, when you came to Millhaven, you came for me, not for the business plan? Sienna, I've read 1,000 business plans. I've tasted one duck confit that I still think about 2 years later. That's why I got on a plane. I pick up the knife. I finish the onions. And for the first time in months, I smile while I'm cooking. 8 months later, I open a restaurant. It's not in Millhaven. It's 20 miles south, in a converted farmhouse outside of Grafton. A town even smaller, where the main street has a bookshop, a hardware store, and now, a 40-seat fine dining restaurant with an open kitchen and a hand-painted sign above the door. The sign reads, Sienna's. Not Enright's table, not a family name. Mine. Tommy is sous chef. Danielle runs garde-manger. Marco handles pastry. The same team that walked out of Gerald's kitchen on opening night now walks into mine every morning at 7. The LLC is filed under my name. 60%. Marcus holds 40. Every document is reviewed by a lawyer I hired, a woman named Patricia Reeves from Grafton who charges $200 an hour and reads every clause out loud before I sign. My name is on the lease, on the insurance policy, on the health department permit. On the menu, printed at the bottom in small italic letters, Chef Sienna Enright. Opening week, every seat is booked. The local paper runs a profile. The food blogger who covered Gerald's disaster drives out and writes a review titled, Worth the Drive. She gives us 4 stars and writes a line I frame and hang in the kitchen. This is what happens when the right person finally gets to run the show. Marcus attends the soft opening. He sits at the chef's counter and orders the duck breast. When it arrives, he takes one bite, sets down his fork, and looks at me through the pass-through window. He gives a single nod. That's it. No speech, no check waving. Just a man who made a bet on a chef, and a plate of food that proves he was right. I nod back. Then I call the next order. Gerald texts me on a Thursday. 6 words. I was wrong. I'm sorry. No excuses. No, let me explain. No, I was trying to protect the family. Just the admission, bare and late, and sitting on my phone screen while I'm prepping for dinner service. I read it. I don't respond. Not because I'm punishing him, because I'm not ready. Readiness isn't something you can rush by sending 6 words to someone you lied to for 14 months. The following Sunday, I meet Mom at a cafe in Grafton. Neutral territory. Not her apartment, not the house on Birch Lane that doesn't belong to them anymore. A place with no history. She looks smaller than I remember. She orders tea. I order coffee. Your father asks about you every day. I know. He watches the restaurant's website. He reads the reviews. I know that too. She sets her cup down. Can you forgive him? I think about it. Really think, not the reflexive of course that family conditions you to produce. I don't know yet, but I've forgiven myself. For what? For believing him for 14 months, for ignoring the signs, for wanting his approval so badly that I handed him my career and trusted him to put my name on it. She reaches across the table. I let her take my hand. If you want to see me, Mom, I'm here. But I won't sit at a table where I'm expected to pretend everything is okay when it isn't. And if Blythe wants to talk, she can reach out, on her own, with something other than blame. Mom nods. She squeezes my hand. Forgiveness isn't a door I close. It's a door I open when I'm ready, and I'm not ready yet. We finish our drinks. She tells me about the library. I tell her about the chanterelle season. It feels like breathing. 5:45 a.m. The kitchen is dark except for the hood light above the range. I come in before anyone else because this is my favorite part of the day, the 15 minutes when the kitchen belongs only to me. I hang my bag on the hook by the back door. Same hook placement as the old restaurant, but this door is mine. This building is mine. This silence is mine. I reach into the bag and pull out my apron. The old one. The one from Chicago with S. Enright embroidered on the chest. The lettering is more frayed now. The fabric is thinner. There's a burn mark near the hem from a sauté pan that flipped on my 3rd day in New York, 11 years ago. I tie it on. Adjust the straps. Look down at my name. I remember folding this apron on the prep counter at Gerald's restaurant. I remember walking through the back door into October air that smelled like wood smoke. I remember a gas station sandwich that tasted like freedom, and a text message that was 43 words long, and a check being torn into 4 pieces in a room full of strangers. I used to think walking away was losing, that leaving the kitchen meant giving up everything I'd built. It took me a while to understand that what I built followed me out that door. The menu, the skills, the reputation, the team. None of it belonged to the building. It belonged to me. The back door opens. Tommy walks in, coffee in hand, apron already on. "Morning, chef." "Morning, chef." He grins. I grin. He heads to his station. I turn on the stove. 40 seats. My name on the door. My name on the lease. My name on every single document. My name is Sienna Enright. I'm 31 years old, and every inch of this, I built it. I own it. And nobody can take it away. So that's my story. I walked out a back door with nothing but a knife roll and an apron, and I built something that's entirely mine. 40 seats. My team, my rules, my name, on everything. If you're in a situation right now where someone is using your talent but erasing your name, where they're building something on your back and putting someone else's face on the front, I hope this story reminds you of one thing: your value doesn't disappear when you leave, it follows you. The people who need you will always find you. The ones who used you will always feel the gap. Now I've got a question. If you were in my shoes that night, standing in the kitchen, apron on, your dad telling you to stay hidden, would you have left sooner? Or would you have stayed through the grand opening? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and check the description for more stories like this. I'll see you in the next one.